Hello and welcome. This is the Connector's Edge podcast, and I'm Marian LaSalle, my co-host Ricki McKenna, and our guest today, Sharon Fant. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Ricki.
Morning.
Yes, it is morning when we're
It is
recording
morning where
this.
we are.
Yes, where we're recording, but you could be listening to this at any time. And that brings me to tell you that you can actually watch us on YouTube or you can listen to us in all of your favorite podcast apps. So if you're mowing the lawn, driving the car, or you're walking the dog, it doesn't matter. You can be listening to us, or if you want to sit down at your computer and see us on the big screen, we can make funny faces and you can check us out over here. There you go.
Yep.
So the podcast is The Connector's Edge. We also have a book club that meets every Monday morning called The Connector's Hour by Chris Sievers. And we also have lots of other great and wonderful things that are going on in our community. So be sure and go to referralbusinessbuilders.com. All of this will be down below in the comment area to check out all the cool events that we have going on and the community. That's what we're all about. You know, I was talking about this morning, connecting, connectors hour, connectors edge, connecting, collaborating. It's
Right.
all here. So we invite you to join us. All right, so I'm going to turn this over now to Ricki so she can introduce Sharon. And thank you for inviting Sharon to meet us.
No, it's my pleasure because Sharon and I have known each other for several years. Sharon, I don't know how she does all the things she does because first of all, she's an RN, as in nurse, and she's an instructor, and she has established, I think, a couple of different organizations and groups for people who are interested in holistic healing. And one of them is called the Holistic Healing Circle.
Love it.
And within that, I've been privileged to speak to the circle and to join them actually in person before I left Houston and moved to Colorado. And Sharon is she's a very warm, very insightful, and she's lots of fun too. And
We
so
like
I would
fun.
love for you. Yeah, we love fun. We gotta have fun. That's in the business plan. And so, Sharon, thank you for joining us. And I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and talk about what I do in the world. That's what I always say, what I do in the world. Because what I do, I'm hoping that it'll catch on and that more people in the world will want to know more about holistic health,
Yeah,
holistic healing, ways that you can heal the body, mind, and spirit outside
Yes.
of traditional medicine. So
Mhm.
that was one of the reasons that I actually started my business, and one of the reasons that I started the Holistic Healing Circle, which is separate from my business, which is the Better Body Source. So I started the Holistic Healing Circle in 2020, actually before we heard that there was COVID in the world. I started on Zoom, and I wanted to have a place, where people could come and discover, other alternative modalities for healing. As you mentioned, I am a registered nurse, and I have been working in healthcare in the medical field for over 38 years. I've been a nurse's aide before. I was an LVN, and then I went on to become an RN. And in my career, there were times when I felt like people were not getting better, but they were getting worse. So I'm like,
mm,
there's got to be, something else that they can do outside of what the doctor is prescribing, right? Medications and things like that. And so I started looking for my own self to look outside the box because I had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in like 2005 or somewhere like that. And other people in my family had type 2 diabetes. So I figured, I'm going to have it like they're going to have it because they'd had it for years. But,
mm,
with my research, I discovered, we don't have to have a disease that people say you're going to have for the rest of your life till you die.
nope.
So, so I was just on a mission. you know. And so because I was on a mission,
Yes, thank
I
you.
reversed the type 2 diabetes using natural and alternative ways for healing. Now I had the support of a medical doctor, but I had to find a doctor who believed that type 2 diabetes could be
Yes.
reversed because they don't usually teach that it can be
Right.
reversed. So,
No,
so
they
that's how
don't.
my journey started into holistic health.
Yay.
I love that. I love that.
Because one of the things that I know as a certified nutritionist is that type 2 diabetes can be reversed. And it's basically with food and exercise.
They don't tell you that, no.
No, and that, I don't know why they don't tell you that.
In our book club this
Whether,
morning, we talked about that. I've got two doctors that are trying to help me right now with different things going on like this. This is just one of the little things that are happening to me, but they don't mention anything about food or exercise or alternative medicine. They just don't. They go right for the medicine. They go right for the pills, the shots, and the
yep.
infusions and all the stuff. So
And
thank you.
not that that's bad. I'm going to do a little disclaimer here for you
Okay,
guys.
please. Thank you.
That's how they're taught. That is what they are taught. That there is a protocol. If it's this or it's that, there's a protocol for it. And the protocol may include a particular medicine or a range of
But they
medicine.
could say that, Ricki. They could tell us that. They could say, "Look, these are the medicines I want to, include in this, but also make sure that you reach out to a nutritionist or make sure that you." Yeah, come
Yes.
on. They could.
Or
It
even
takes a
have
sentence, right?
a nutritionist on staff. Some do.
Oh,
And very interestingly, I did go to a doc out here because I mangled my shoulder, uh, skiing, biking, and everything, and falling on my right shoulder. It finally said, enough, girl. And the doctor did say, talked about physical therapy. And he said to me, and I said, thank God, you don't need surgery because a lot of people hear, that it's rotator cuff and they replace the rotator cuff. But the doc said, no, you don't need that. He said, what you need is physical therapy. And he said, good exercise. And he said, you're a nutritionist, you know what to eat. So it's a matter of education, but it's also, and Sharon, I think you'll agree with this very much, patient education and doing their own research as years ago, I've forgotten who said it to me, but MD does not stand for M deity. It's
Okay.
medical doctor, and the doctor is supposed to help the healing, but they can't do the healing for you. You have to do your own healing. So
I
go
have a
from there, girl.
question. Yeah, I have a question for Sharon. You said you have a business and then you have the Healing Circle. Can you tell us the difference and the name again? The Better Body Source?
Okay. Yeah, it's really not a difference except that the way I said it probably makes it look like it's a difference. So my business is the Better Body Source. And with the Better Body Source, we provide sources and resources, and tools and workshops and classes and things like that under the Better Body Source. Because a
Hmm.
lot of time people, like Ricki mentioned earlier, they need education. So we provide, educational ways for people to understand, what's going on with their body, what would it take for me to heal this disease? Or we will answer, by holding consultations and things like that. Now, with that said, I decided, well, I wanted to be more in touch with the people, and I wanted people to have a way that they can be educated about alternative medicine and, natural ways for healing. That's when I started the Holistic Healing Circle, which is kind of under the umbrella of the Better Body Source.
Okay. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I want to step back just a little bit and go over, what Ricki said about the training that the doctors get.
Yeah.
So I've worked in hospitals, I've worked in clinics, and I've also worked with managed care. And we work directly with the doctors. You're working for health insurance companies and things like that. And during that time, I discovered a lot that goes on in the background of how doctors are trained and how doctors operate, like, in the back porch, right? And so doctors are trained, to use what they call a standard of care. It's almost like a guidebook. And so if you come in with a symptom and you tell the doctor all your symptoms, all your complaints and things like that, he has an obligation to use the medical community's standard of care. And if he
Okay.
does not use the protocol that's in that standard of care, if he does not use it, which starts out with prescribing medications, if he doesn't use it, he has a risk of being sued.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, so he has to follow this protocol. He's kind of like stuck like Chuck because, in his defense, because if he doesn't follow the standard of care, what a prudent other doctor would order, and prudent other doctors would order XYZ based on the guidelines. And so to his defense, when you come in with symptoms, the guideline may say, order this medicine, and that medicine. And then if he does not prescribe those and you come back later and something happened, you can sue him. And the chances are he may not win because he didn't follow the standards of care.
got it. But can't they also say, and I want
Yes,
you to
I agree. I
consider?
agree. Yeah, they
Okay.
can also say that. Yes, yes,
Okay.
definitely. And
All right.
some doctors who are now, moving toward holistic health and moving toward functional medicine,
Mm-hmm.
you're moving toward, using natural ways. They do that, but it's not their first recommendation. Yeah.
Right. Right. There was it's very interesting how some doctors now operate because of those rules. I know that they're kind of restricted in that protocol.
See, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
a big difference.
Yes. However, some of them have, I've had a couple of docs, especially up here, seems to be more progressive toward functional medicine up here in the valley, because it's, like, I don't know how many, it's about 50,000 people in the valley. But they can also say, and I've had them say, and also, what are you eating? Or, what kind of, how's your diet? And diet doesn't refer to something for weight loss or weight gain. It refers to anything you put into your mouth. And so that is it opens up a little bit of something else and they can talk to you about that. They're allowed to counsel. But as Sharon said, their first go-to is the protocol, the prescribed protocol. But the thing is, it's the responsibility of the patient to find out about what else there is. It's not, you're not a little puppet in the hand of anybody.
We feel like it though, Ricki, when we don't
I
know.
know.
We haven't been trained or whatever. I should
Yeah.
know better because I worked for visiting nurses for a long time as a
Did you?
nurse's aide. I did. And they were putting me through school for occupational therapy. And then Medicare had its cutbacks and they said, sorry, everybody's, PRN now and
Oh,
that kind of stuff. So yeah, I did. And so I should know better, but that was a long time ago, and so that's why people like you who deal with food and Sharon who deal with a wide variety of educational things. I think you guys are so much more important than you think you are.
no. Thank you.
We need you.
Speaking of, home health, I was a home health visiting nurse for 18 years.
Wow.
Here in the Houston area. So I visited a lot of patients, right, in their homes. And going back to the conversation we had about prescription medications and what the doctor prescribed, the
Oh,
first thing that they do. You know, as a visiting nurse, when I would go into a lot of the homes, I would have to admit them. That means that I have to do an evaluation, check their meds, see what they're taking. Sometimes people would bring me like a whole shoebox full of medications.
yes,
Seen it.
I'm
exactly.
for real. Yeah.
Seen
A
it.
Yeah,
whole
no, I get
shoebox.
it. I got the same thing as a nutritionist going into someone's home. And when you see next to their bed, they have a nightstand that's, maybe 2 feet by
It's
3 feet,
true. It's true.
and it's just piled full of prescription bottles.
Yes.
And
And
I
it's
said,
pretty scary.
Yes,
it's
it
very
is.
scary. I said to one woman in a talk that I did at one of the places in Houston, one of the senior residences in Houston, I said, okay, have people bring their meds, and we'll talk about that. We'll see what they've got. One woman came in and she literally filled the top of a little desk with medication. She must have had 16 different medications. And I said to her, well, do you know why you're taking each one of these?
No.
No. And I can remember as a kid, this just popped into my head. My grandfather, may he rest in peace, was a big man and just an absolute teddy bear. And he had some problems. And he went to a couple of different doctors, and this was, like 70 years ago. And one doctor prescribed this, another doctor prescribed that, and somebody else prescribed that. And my mother, I can remember my mom saying this, are these doctors talking to each other? No. And so now we have the case, and Sharon, I know you know this. They take one medication and it's got side effects, and then they get something else to take care of the side effects. And then there's something else that pops up, and it goes on and on. And I know that they want their patients to get better, but there's got to be, here's where we go to connecting and collaborating. If you don't get the one doctor to talk to the other doctor and see what they're doing, how do you know what's going on in the patient's body and how that patient is accepting and how their body is using or not using a medication?
Yeah, exactly. And because they were going to different doctors and the doctors wasn't talking to each other, patients ended up with multiple medications that were exactly the same. Like, let's take an example, a medication called Lanoxin, for the heart. And one doctor, the cardiologist may have ordered Lanoxin, but the PCP may have ordered Lanoxin too, but they may have it in the generic name. And so here I am with a
Yes.
patient and this box full of medications. They don't know that they've got the same medicine in two different bottles. And so they're double medicating themselves.
Ugh.
And so that's where another danger comes in is that you're supposed to be taking 20 milligrams because that's what the cardiologist said, and the PCP said the same thing, but now you're really taking 40, and you may end up in the emergency room because you ran into some complications because you were over medicating on the Lanoxin. Let's say that's just an example.
Yeah.
So because patients didn't know what the medicine was for, they didn't know that there was a generic name and there was a trade name. So all of that caused confusion for the patient, and patients did end up, and they still do today, end up in the emergency room because of medications.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Sharon. That's scary. Um,
Very.
you always need an advocate. I know this. I took care of a lady with Alzheimer's until she just recently passed away. For like 6 years, I took care of her. And I saw so much of that. Okay. So much of that. But anyway, my question is something that just happened to me at the pharmacy. So the doctor, because of my I don't know what it really was, but we all think it was poison ivy. Anyway, the doctor prescribed a medication. I went to the store or the pharmacy to get it, and the pharmacist assistant said, "Oh, you have to hold on. The pharmacist has to talk to you about this medication." So I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." The pharmacist comes over and she goes, "Now, you're only supposed to take one of these a day, but your doctor has prescribed two. And that was the end of the conversation. And I thought, okay, I'm still confused. Who should I, what? Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what? Isn't that crazy?
It is, and I think that, in my opinion, the pharmacist who knew that you should only have one should have called the doctor and said,
Yes.
hey, you have overprescribed. You have given her two, but the protocol is one. And then he should have resolved that with the doctor before he or she even told you about it. Because now you're confused. Now you're going to have to call the doctor and find out, well, hey, the pharmacist said I'm only supposed to have two according to the rules. And I'm only supposed to have one and you ordered me two. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem. And I would think that, as you said, the pharmacist really has more of an understanding of what's going on with the medications.
And
And
they
in
know
some
what other
places,
medications you're taking, even if it's different doctors, right? Because you're going to the same pharmacy.
they
That's
should know.
correct. I'm glad you
They
said
can,
that because if you go to the
yeah,
same pharmacy, they have it in the records in the database.
right. Yeah, that's a good thing about, the
Yeah,
computers and the record keeping. And as I said, before, the doctor doesn't always know what another doctor has prescribed.
yeah.
And so, whew,
I have
yeah,
another question for Sharon. Sharon, it sounds to me like people can join your community either through the Healing Circle or your regular business. Can you tell us a little bit more about who should be looking at you up and how? Because I feel like you are so needed in our community
yes.
that I want to know more. I want to know more about what to expect.
Well, I like working with people who are wanting to know more about how to heal themselves and who want to know more about other ways for healing outside of traditional medicine. The people who I work with are people who are kind of fed up with what they call the medical matrix. And it is definitely a matrix. And
Hmm.
so they're fed up with it because they've been dealing with all these different doctors. They're on 15 plus medications. So people who want to deprescribe, like they want to be off all these medications. I know people who come to me who say, I am on 3 different blood pressure medications and nothing is working. I still have high blood pressure. Why is that? You know, and so I would work
Yeah.
with them to wean themselves off, working with the doctor. We don't do anything without letting the doctor know, hey, I want to get off some of these medications. And so I've got somebody who's going to be helping me
Okay.
to get off these medications. And I just wanted you to know about it. You're not asking the doctor permission. Okay, so the people who come with me, they've already, trusted the doctor and things are not working. And I am not a doctor basher at all. I believe in working with the
Yeah.
doctors. But there is a time when people have to be empowered to take care of their own health and to put
Yes.
their own health in their own hand. They have to take responsibility for themselves. So I actually wrote a book called Your Doctor is Not the Boss of You.
Oh,
And in this book, I shared what I had to do to reverse the type 2 diabetes. I had to stop listening to what the doctor said. And I had to take my own health into my own hand. And if you continue to put your life in the hand of someone else, you may be running down the wrong road. You definitely need to educate yourself, know what's out there, be a Google queen, a Google king, find out as much as you can about healing yourself. So that's what the holistic healing circle is about. And that's why all the different guest speakers that we have every month, they're showing us ways to heal ourselves that you may
mhm.
not have ever heard of before.
Yep.
Wow.
Which
Wow.
reminds me, Sharon, after this, I would love to speak with you because I need to get that paper about the spice shelf to the medicine shelf to you.
Okay.
So you can give it that perfect. I couldn't have said it better. You said it brilliantly. We have to take responsibility for ourselves. We're not babies.
We don't
And if
know
we
that
have
though.
babies,
I know that you guys know that, but we need to be taught that. We need
Yeah,
yes,
and
you. We
that's
need,
yes,
one of my goals
true.
is to empower people, so you don't be like left in the dark because people like they'll go to the doctor and he says do this, this, and this, he or she. And again, some of those things are good to do. Don't get me wrong, because doctors really play a major part in emergency healthcare.
Hmm.
They keep people from dying.
right.
But if you have a disease that's considered chronic, or they
Yes.
tell you you're going to have it for the rest of
Yes.
your life, you just toss over into some category,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
you gotta do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because do you want to have it for the rest of your life? That's a question you should ask yourself. Do you want to have high blood pressure for the rest of your life? No, most people say no to me. Well, let's see what we can do to get it down. Let's look at some nutritional things. Like, what food are you eating? Let's stop some of the high salt foods, or the processed foods. What are you doing to your body? What are you putting in your body? How much water are you having? That kind of thing. So, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm I'm not reaching the amount of people who I want to reach. I want to reach millions of people, but
Yay. Me
it
too.
starts with people being curious and people wanting to do better. They
Yes.
want to live. People who want to live come to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a distinction here for me. People who want to live and live well or just exist.
Yeah,
And I'm just, if you don't mind, Sharon, I'm just going to give one example that I used for
yeah,
last week, or was it 2 weeks? One of the things about indigestion, people have GERD, which is it's serious because there's something going on in there, and we know what's going on usually in their digestive system. But one of the things that I learned years and years and years ago is that ginger, crystallized ginger, can deal with indigestion quicker and more efficiently than something like a medication like Tums, or what are the other things for acid indigestion? The case for acid indigestion, for the most part, is that the person doesn't have enough hydrochloric acid in their stomachs to digest the foods that are landing in there efficiently. Therefore, the foods are coming back up because they can't get processed properly in the stomach. And so antacids are not what the person needs. They need more of a certain kind of acid, which is actually hydrochloric. The only place in the body that's acidic is the stomach, and it should be. And so the ginger is an amazing remedy for, I would say, 98% of the people who have that problem, that can help stop it. And the perfect example is my sweet husband. I mean, his bottle of Tums, you see this cup? The Tums bottle was probably this big, giganta, you know? And I surreptitiously one day just kind of tossed it in the garbage. And I gave him a little glass jar with some crystallized ginger. And most of it comes with a lot of sugar on it. So I kind of rubbed that off and put that in the jar. One or two of those, he sucks on them or chews on them, it's gone. And after
Interesting.
his initial upset at the fact that I had taken a
Thrown
little bit of
something
it,
away. Yeah. Hello.
throwing it away, yes, he realized that he didn't have indigestion anymore. And this is about going on 7 years. He's doing ginger, and he doesn't have it as often because of the difference in the foods he's eating too. And
Right.
I'm not just patting myself on the back. This is something that, pardon, that people have to learn, that food makes a huge difference.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have Sharon back because we've
Oh,
got
yeah.
so much more to talk about. We just barely scratched the surface, didn't we?
Yeah, because it's really a lot to say about it. And I also work with caregivers because just like you mentioned that you're
Yes.
taking care of a family member and even mothers with children, they're caregivers. And so they have to be educated too, like what to give their
Yes.
children, what kind of nutritional lifestyle that they want to instill into their children.
Right.
So I work mostly with adults, but I work with the parents also, so that they'll know what to feed their children.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a whole nother topic, like you said, for another
Yeah,
day.
yes. That's a whole nother day.
Yes.
No. Well, I tell you what, are we about up
we're out of
Yeah.
time-wise
time,
today? I can't
unfortunately.
keep track
Yes.
of time. You know me. But what I want to say to everyone is number one, thank you, thank you, thank you, Sharon, for being with us and for
Thank
your wisdom and your beautiful way of getting things across to people and your holistic healing circle and the availability you make available the information to a lot of people, which is
Thank you.
fabulous. So, all of you out there, we need your comments. And if you've heard just one thing today that perhaps has helped you understand more about your body and your relationship with your healthcare professionals, don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you've heard one good thing, one little nugget, please list it below. Let us know. It's very important to us because it gives us more fuel to bring things to you that you really want to see and hear, and to bring more people like Sharon, who helps a lot of people to understand more about their bodies, and for Marian and myself to understand more of what we can bring to you so that you'll come back and watch our Connector's Edge. We'd like to connect people.
Thank
So
you,
thank you.
Sharon.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you so
Ricki.
much.
Come back again. Thank you
All
so
right. Thank
much.
you.
And here's to everybody's health. Bye for now.